Welcome into the KSR Football Podcast. I'm Nick Roush, joined by Freddie Maggard, Drew Franklin, and Adam Luckett. A little bit different time, all thanks to our friends at Justice Dental, because tonight we are making them money. It is Halloween. Everybody go rot your teeth out, eat all the candy you possibly can, then give our friends at Justice Dental a call, 859-543-0700, whether you're getting cavities from your Halloween candy, you got something stuck in your braces, whatever it may be. Dr. Thompson and Dr. Justice, they're going to take care of you at either one of their convenient two locations in Lexington. They got one on Blazer, one on Wellington. So check them out, justicedental.com, or give them a call, 859-543-0700. Thanks to our friends at Justice Dental. It's Halloween, so instead of competing with trick-or-treating, we are going to talk a little bit earlier today about a game that felt about as spooky as Halloween there, Freddie Maggard. That was no fun.
No, not fun at all. I'm still ticked about it, to be honest with you. This game sticks with me because of geographical area. I know a lot of Tennessee fans, so this is something you got to live with. And Kentucky did not play good, did not play complimentary football. Special teams and offense were really bad. I'm to the point now, I don't know how to evaluate the Kentucky defense for this game because they start in Kentucky. Tennessee started in Kentucky territory on 5 drives. Kentucky defensively had a couple stops, missed field goal, forced a punt, but you cannot give the number one offense in America 5 shots inside of your 50-yard line and expect to win the football game. So, defensively didn't play great, had 2 bad coverage busts, but didn't play awful, to be quite honest with you. So for me, it was just that offense is just not doing it. It's not getting it done. It's not efficient. 3 more turnovers, 1 in the red zone. You convert 15% on third down in a game that was going to be all about possessions. You didn't extend drives. So even though the defense stole a few possessions, and we kept talking about that, not a turnover, but had stops. This offense is not getting it done. And then the third phase is, you had how many critical errors, Adam? You had a blocked PAT, a nearly blocked punt, and a punt return that leaked back to the 12-yard line. So that's 3 catastrophic errors on the road in the SEC. You're not going to win those games. I don't care how good or bad the offense or defense played. So just a tough loss, and better get it right because Missouri will think they have every chance in the world to win, and they should think that because Kentucky's not playing good. It's a sloppy football team. It's uncharacteristic. It's just not a good outing in Knoxville at all around all 3 phases. Let's just go ahead and say that.
Oh, I like Freddie too, just tapping the unmute, getting out of there. But it is appropriate, though. The word he used was sloppy. Luckett, you used that last Saturday night when we were doing our rapid reaction. Like, this is just a sloppy Kentucky football team, and it's very uncharacteristic of what we've seen from Mark Stoops' team since 2016.
Yeah, I mean, it was a train wreck Saturday night. 2 to 3 phases. Defense isn't without fault. They did have the 2 coverage busts, but overall, I mean, if Tennessee's starting on the 45 and they get 11 possessions, you're lucky they didn't score 60 points. If they're starting right around midfield. So, the defense just got no help. 0 help from the other phases. Kentucky did not play complimentary football. They played 5 games against Power 5 competition. They're averaging 17 offensive points per game. Just not good enough. It's not. And we heard Mark Stoops talk about it today and address it. It better get corrected. And a pretty long story short is what he said. Or there might need to be some changes. Just got to be, the whole operation's got to be better. And it's not just, it's very easy to blame the offensive line here. I think that's been very much a go-to for people to blame these offensive failures, but it is on a lot of people to me. It's on the operation of the offense, not getting plays in fast enough, questionable play calls in the red zone, receivers not playing well. They've had multiple moments where maybe they're not doing the right things or not blocking. Will Levis needs to play better. it's just on a lot of people, and they just have to be better. And Kentucky worked very, very hard of years of building to get in a window like that, to get into a game where you're playing a top 5 team and you're getting the big boy treatment in the last weekend of October, a big moment, and you go out there and play like that. It's just very, very disappointing. And you ruined an opportunity that you worked a long time to establish, and that's the most frustrating part about this situation.
For me too, in particular, I was on as my friend called it, fraternity leave. I was putting my head in the sand, right? Spending time with my kids, enjoying the hell out of it. So I did not invest a ton of time game planning. But Drew, even I knew with one day of prep, you cannot run on first down every time against this Tennessee defense. They're just going to go right at you. Just throw it on first down, take a little pressure off them, try to get over those linebackers. They're going to be really aggressive. And as soon as they get to the red zone, what do? Like, let's run up the middle, 3rd and 8, let's throw it. And it's just it was a recipe for disaster that I saw coming a mile away. And if I could see it a mile away, then Tennessee certainly should have been able to see it coming a mile away.
It looked like Tennessee saw everything coming a mile away. I mean, they were jumping passing lanes, maybe knowing plays. I mean, it was very predictable, Kentucky's offense. That's why I'm so disappointed. But we all know it was likely a loss. It's always a loss in Knoxville, except for 2 years ago. You get one. But I think our honest expectations with Tennessee would win that game. But the 6 points is just so frustrating. I'm tired of every week saying, well, they get Levis and Rodriguez back for their second time together, their third time together. They didn't have this person. We're getting towards the end of the season, and this team is averaging 17 points per game. And I feel like we're just wasting all this talent and this quarterback we're going to see get picked next May to watch him score 6 points against a passing defense that lets everybody throw on them. I hate that number 6 I'm looking at the screen right there.
Yeah, the results got to be the results, and they fall at the play caller's feet to me. You make $900,000 to score points. Put the ball in the end zone. That is the name of the game. You're here to score points, recruit good players, and score points on Saturday. That's what you're here for. Not getting it done. Bottom line.
Nope, not getting it done. And Freddie, I think the point that Drew's making, it's a sentiment that a lot of folks are sharing right now. We've got these kind of generational. You feel like you've got this really good skill talent, this great quarterback, and yet you're squandering it with just sloppy football. It feels like there's a lot of missed opportunities out there for Kentucky, and it all really came to fruition Saturday night. This isn't just a Saturday night problem. We've given them excuses all year long. They're running out of excuses.
Yeah, I mean, they're out. I mean, this is like Adam said. I don't understand. You get in the red zone down there. You run into the boundary twice. Tennessee defensively is always going to focus on creating havoc on early downs. First, second down, they're coming downhill to stop the run, to create a tackle for loss or a zero-game run play, and Kentucky just kept running straight into the strength of the Tennessee defense and could not take advantage of the weakness of that defense that was ranked 130th in the country in pass defense. And what Kentucky throw for 98?
Yep.
I mean, that's just not getting it done. And I agree. I mean, Adam said it right. I think the easy excuse or the easy blame here is on the offensive line, but there's a lot more issues than just tackle for this team. A lot more issues on this offense. Let's just say that. And then, when you have three catastrophic errors, not just one, but 3 catastrophic special teams errors, that's going to get you beat. I mean, it's just not been – it doesn't seem like this is a cohesive team. I'm not saying that they're not close in the locker room or off the field or whatever, but there's been very little cohesion with this 3-phase football that Kentucky's not played complementary, and a lot of that has to do with the offense struggling. Well, it's 24 points a game right now, including FCS opponents and MAC opponents. Mm-hmm. That's just not going to cut it. It's not going to get it done, especially with a quarterback like Levis. and he has to play better. I mean, every offensive player has to play better, but I do think that they could be put in better positions with game planning and play calling, and I've seen some issues there. It's got to get looked at. I mean, like Mark Stoops said it today, they cannot just ignore scoring 17 points a game against Power 5 opponents. It's not going to go away. You can't run from it. So I think a lot of things are going to need to be addressed this week, and there's going to have to be some honest, hard discussions about what's going on with this offense.
Yeah, I think just the game plan was just really bad Saturday. We all know what Tennessee wants to do on defense, like Freddie said. They're rolling a safety. They had 9 people in the box. Throw it on first down. Like, well, then you make Levis's jaw. Like, Freddie, it's damn hard to play quarterback when it's 3rd and 9. Like, and you got to pass then. The easiest time to pass is on 1st and 10. You know, loosen them up a little bit. Then you can get into your 13 personnel and your hammer game. But you can't just like run pass. Like they were just very, very predictable. I mean, it was the same game plan they had him against Mississippi State. Like they didn't change anything. It was the same. We were going to run it. We're going to stick to the run, and then we're going to ask Will Levis to bail us out on 3rd down and 10. And that's just not going to work in this league. It's just not, especially not with this offensive line they have right now. Like it's not Kentucky's offensive line last year where they could impose their will on heavy fronts. They can't do that anymore. So they just got to be better. I don't know what else to say other than that.
Well, and then they did the thing where, okay, Jaton McClain's going to bail us out. He's going to get us from out of our own end zone. All right, we'll run out the clock before half. Okay, that makes sense. You get the ball first. It could be 20-6, and you can go down and score a touchdown, start the second half. And then they decided, you know what? No, we're going to throw it, but we're not going to throw it downfield. We're just going to throw screen passes, and then one's going to be incomplete. Barryon Brown's going to run out of bounds with another one, and then Tennessee gets the ball back at the 45 with 2 timeouts left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was. What are you doing? Are you running the clock out, or are you going after it, or where? There was a lot of head scratching things, and it just, Drew. I know that we said this already once. It was gonna take a perfect game to beat that Tennessee team. They're really good, but you had to be that bad against those bunch of yokels, right? Like those jagaloons, those jerk-offs. Like they're the worst humans on planet Earth. They're stealing freaking wheelchairs for crying out loud. Like old ladies' wheelchairs. That's how much they suck as a collective. They are the worst, and yet we let them do that to us, all via self-inflicted mistakes. Something that's happened time and time and time and time and time again this year.
Who steals a wheelchair? I mean, that's lowest of the lows. But Stoops does a lot of things well, but the first half clock management right before halftime, I feel like that's a movie we've seen 20 times since he's been here. Unbelievable how they finished. I mean, very believable, actually, the way they finished that half. And then what is it with bye weeks? Do we just need to stop having bye weeks? Or do we need to mix up how we're game planning in bye weeks? Because he's not doing well out of those either. Those are 2 staples that we saw rear their ugly heads on Saturday. Just not knowing how to get to halftime and then not knowing how to make the most of an extra week advantage going into a game.
I also heard a stat, too. I haven't gone back to confirm. This could have just been an angry live blogger, but that Kentucky is 0-9 in Week 10s under Mark Stoops, which
That's not good.
I don't know if that's entirely sure. I know a lot of those Week 10 games were probably Georgia. That was about the time. But if that's the case, Week 10 right here, can't lose, right? Like you can't lose to Missouri. Because as bad as this loss has been, we'll get to Missouri some more, and we'll come back to just how much it sucked. But most people probably picked an 8-4, 9-3 season, give or take. You can still finish 8-4. You can beat the snot out of your rival to end the year. I don't care how bad they beat Wake Forest. Louisville's still bad, and you should run them off the football field at Kroger Field. It's you could still have some positives, but you have to be able to get up off the mat because this kind of loss is deflating. And Freddie, Missouri, they aren't going to just roll over in Como, right?
No.
They know how to play. Eli Drinkwitz knows how to play an ugly football game and keep things closer than they should be against an overmatched opponent.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a good job with that team. Beat Vanderbilt in South Carolina, almost beat Georgia, and
had Auburn beat.
Had Auburn beat, got beat up by a good Kansas State team. So this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a challenge not because of I think Kentucky has better players. I do, honestly. I think Kentucky has the better team in theory, but we've not seen it. We've seen them one half against Mississippi State, one half against Florida, and that's about it offensively that you would say, wow. And you had some big plays early. Now, it wasn't all terrible offensively. I thought Jordan Dingle played well.
Oh,
Josh Caddis played really well.
That dude, he lights people up.
Yeah, and if you're really looking at the offensive line, I think the left side was good enough. Right side struggled. Pre-snap penalties. You're going to have that, and you're not going to have. You shouldn't have that. So just got to get cleaned up. Just got to get cleaned up and have a plan and stick to it. Because Missouri, defensively, that front seven that they got, they're going to move before the snap. They're going to move at the snap. They're going to try to create havoc. They're going to come downhill. It's going to play a lot like what Tennessee did against Kentucky. So if you come with that same game plan for 3 weeks in a row, you're going to get beat at Missouri. I'm just going to tell you right now. Get ready for it because it's not going to work. Going to have to do something different, Adam. Going to have to – I don't know what it is, but you're going to have to do something different, and you got to get those young pass catchers back involved in this offense. Kentucky's receivers combined for 7 catches for 31 yards against Tennessee. It's three starting receivers, Barryon Brown, Tavion Robinson, and Dane Key. Got to find a way to get those young guys open again and get the football back and having some fun again because the Kentucky offense that I've seen for the majority of this year, it's been a labor. Every play has been a labor, a strain. There's nothing easy for this offense, and they're too talented for it to be this clunky, this wobbly 9 games into the season, Adam.
Yeah, I think first off, they're scoring 17 points per game against Power 5 competition. Missouri's a top 25 defense. Louisville looks much improved defensively. We know the juggernaut Georgia is. I know 8-4 is the expectation, but from where I'm sitting, it's going to be tough to go 3-1 with how this offense is playing. You need your defense to be lights out. And then when you have an offense struggling like this, you need a kicking game to pick them up. And we know that's not happening. And so, there's a lot that's kind of stacked against them here from where I'm sitting right now. But, yeah, like Freddie mentioned, that's been one of my biggest criticisms of the offense. It's just it shouldn't be this hard. You should be able to come up with a plan to have success early, to take advantage of some of the defense's weaknesses and to hide some of your weaknesses. And we haven't seen it. They start these games like absolute crap.
3-0. 3-0.
I mean, just every game it's like this. It just looks ugly to start these games on offense. Why is that? Why can't they figure out something to start these games? That makes absolutely no sense to me. It's just been bad, and they're in a tough spot right now. I really think that, and it's going to be hard on Saturday because Missouri's got a good defense. Their offense is playing with more confidence. So Brad White and that defense are going to need to be really, really good. I think for people if you want to get to 8-4, that defense is going to have to be lights out. I don't see really any way around it.
I got a question, Drew. What was the score at the end of the first quarter?
A lot to 6. 14-6. 13-6.
13-6.
Tennessee only had 3 offensive possessions too.
Yeah,
I think it was 7-6 in Tennessee.
It was 7-6.
They scored first play of the second quarter.
Okay.
So defensively, I would argue, even with very little help from the other side, Kentucky was in the game in the first quarter, right? And defense. I mean, what else can you ask from a defense? I mean, they gave up another one quickly after that, but I have a hard time dissecting the Kentucky defense against Tennessee, and I've said that twice now. And I'm asking for y'all's help because with an offense that potent and I hate to keep going back to it, the other two phases can't give Tennessee the football inside the 50-yard line 5 times to start drives. So defensively, I don't think it was an all-systems failure. Didn't play great, but De'Aaron Jackson with 14 tackles. Jordan Lovett was a little aggressive on a dig route, came up. And listen, that happens against an offense like this, right? I mean, you're going to give up. Every team has. You're not going to completely shut that Tennessee offense down. But I thought the defense put the team in a position to have a winning plan, have a winning game against Tennessee down there. And just, golly, just the continuation of offensive errors just baffles me. And special teams, it's tough. It's tough to watch. It's not fun to watch, and it makes this podcast not fun, and it makes a lot of stuff not fun because too much talent on that team. And I just want to see somebody figure it out offensively and put these players in a position to win football games.
Freddie, you know what else isn't fun? I canceled my hotel room in Atlanta. Threw in the towel. I held on as long as I could, but I think at this point it's lost hope. And I did that this morning, and it hurt to get that email. It even it asked me, it was like, "Are you sure?" After I thought I was done, it was like, "You really want to do this?" But moving on.
I had Kentucky 8-4-ish this year, and like Adam said, that's going to be tough to finish 8-4 if there aren't some changes made offensively because
I feel
Missouri's good, Louisville's good. I mean,
whoa, Freddie, Louisville, not
calm
good.
down.
Yeah, come on. They blitz and then they get 17 turnovers.
If Kentucky Kentucky cannot score, it's just they're the wiggle. There's just there's hardly any room for error. And then football is if you play like Kentucky plays, if you shrink the game on offense, you try to protect your defense, move ball control and field position are huge. You got to be able to convert their downs, and you got to be able to, Nick, we used to say punt to win when Max was here, right? Mm-hmm. That's a huge weapon. That's not there anymore. And so you have a situation like this Tennessee game, like Freddie is talking about, where you just you can't he's right. The defense I think did some good things, but it's hard to judge them. The only thing you can really judge them on is the busted coverage. Everything else is just they were at Tennessee's starting to drive at their own 40, starting to drive at the Kentucky 42, starting to drive at the Kentucky 43. That's impossible to stop an offense like that when they just got field position advantages on you all game. And so they're not playing complementary football. That's the recipe for Kentucky, and they're just not playing it. And that's what scares you, because if you don't play it, you can get beat by anybody playing the way Kentucky plays.
I'm scarred from that 15% on third down. I'll be honest with you. That is bad. And that, the points, 6 points is bad enough. But 15% on third down, that's got me a little scarred, a little anxious going forward, and that's putting it nicely.
I feel like the Big Blue Nation right now is just the Wolverine meme where he's looking at the picture frame and just holding it up, and in the picture frame it's Liam Cohen. Because here's the thing, going into last year, a lot of you were rolling the dice on this new style, and a lot of it was going to be based on the play caller. Well, the play caller was darn good. You scored on your first possession, 9 or 10 out of 12 games. You went from ranked in the hundreds to top 20 in red zone touchdown efficiency and third down conversion efficiency. Third down actually hasn't been too bad, but you're not scoring right away. The scripts have been bad, and then you aren't scoring in the red zone. You're leaving points off the board. You're moving the ball. You're getting it into the 40-yard line or so, and then you're messing up, right? It's been bad. And the thing that I keep going back to, I think about the last time we saw Liam Cohen call plays, and it was against the top, 10, 15 defense
top
that
10.
Iowa had, Luckett?
Top 10 defense.
Top 10 defense. And everybody and their brother knew the ball was going to Wan'Dale Robinson. And what did they do? They still got Wan'Dale Robinson open, and they still hit him every single time, and it worked. How does you have plenty of weapons, and you can't get anybody open? I wrote something that's going up later today. I've got to tighten it up a little bit. But somehow I've watched a lot of Denver Broncos football games this year, And I feel like I'm watching the same football teams because everything is so hard, and it shouldn't be this hard. But the play caller, Nathaniel Hackett in that case, and Rich Kangaroo in this one, just for whatever reason, isn't getting anything. Like, it's just nothing's easy. And it should be so much easier with the pieces you had to this puzzle, but they're just not. It's just getting jammed in there. And I find a hard time disputing what Nathan's saying on the KSR YouTube channel right now that Cohen would have us at 7-1 and scoring 35 or 40 points a game. I mean, it's hard for me to dispute that right now. It's hard for me to dispute that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you saying this was a bad idea?
Oh, we got a Skang Gang is it a T-shirt?
You know, it was a different time in my life when we had Skang Gang T-shirts. No, someone just mailed me this a couple weeks ago, a Skang Gang T-shirt. I think maybe I'm going to keep this and fold it away for a little while. I don't know if I'll be putting that on for a few weeks. A little disappointed in the Skang Gang. I don't know what we do at this point, though.
Well,
we're kind of just here. It kind of is what it is.
And we're kind of like we gave him. It's like, okay, you got to give him some more time to figure it out. Right? It's a little bit different than NFL. He didn't have Chris Rodriguez. Well, now it's like, okay, you've got 4 games. You're coaching for your job. Kind of, right? I mean, is it kind of where we're at?
I think Mark Stoops confirmed that with his quote today.
Yeah.
What was that quote?
Around it. I've got it up right here.
Yeah, let's get that one exact.
I got to pull it up right quick. So
okay, while you're pulling that up, just a big suck it to all you Tennessee volunteer losers that are watching us on YouTube right now. Like, you're proving why you suck. You're the worst. Why are you on a Kentucky show right now in the chat? Like, get the hell out of here, you losers. God, just the worst.
Can I say something nice about them?
Sure.
That looked like a pretty awesome atmosphere.
It was great. Like, it was pretty cool. One of the better road games I've been to. Just
the white thing they did with the T made it even pop more.
Yeah, it was great weather. Great. Everybody was excited to be there. There was buzz in the air. And the setup was awesome. It was A+ college football environment. I do have to say that. But here's the whole quote. It's hard to say after a game like that because, once again, I'm smart enough not to get a headline out of me with acting like I'm pleased with that performance, because I'm clearly not. Nobody should be. So you have to always look at things and evaluate things and see the good and the bad and where you're falling short. What else are you going to do? There's nothing drastic. You certainly better look at it and you better address it and you better get it fixed or you're not going to last.
Not going to last.
So who do we think is not going to last? Because Mark Stoops not going to fire himself.
What did Mitch Barnhart say back in the summer when we were all fighting with each other? Coaches change, something like that.
Oh yeah. Which
a little bit of that from Stoops right there.
I love the thought of him firing himself too, and like UK doesn't have to pay the buyout because he fired. It's like Michael Scott firing the guy on the first day when he tries to quit. It's like, what are you doing here? Which brings me to something while we're on it, I need to get to. But first, I need to tell you more about our friends at PrizePicks because they're awesome, they're outstanding, and PrizePicks is going to hook you up tonight when you're watching. Or before you're watching the Browns take on the Bengals, which I know this is kind of Freddie's got his Browns hat on. Luckett's a big Bengals fan. Combating tonight on Monday Night Football. Download PrizePicks. Use the code KSR. 100% match on your initial deposit when you play PrizePicks. You can't play Jamar Chase tonight, Luckett, but you can still go for the Joe Burrow over yards. And even though they'll probably be playing from behind, Nick Chubb is just an animal on the ground. So take the over on his yards right there. Luckett, you got any Rex too? Who do you think's going to be good?
I like the Nick Chubb one because the Bengals' run D has been iffy here the last couple of weeks. They don't have their best defensive lineman who's like top run stuffer. So Chubb running the ball, I think he could have a big game. Especially if the Browns got up early and they could just turn out first downs and try to play ball control. So Nick Chubb over would definitely be something I would look at there. Looking on the other side, Tyler Boyd has kind of quietly had a big year. I think everybody knows T. Higgins is going to be the guy now, but Boyd's quietly the number 2, so I would expect him to have a big game as well.
So download PrizePicks app, use promo code KSR, it'll match your deposit. All you do is it's like making a parlay bet. You just pick more or less on their props, and you can win. It's available in 70% of the states. You can get it some places in Canada too. We can't make wagers on a lot of things in Kentucky, but you can when you play with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is sponsoring this new segment. It's called Coaching Carousel Season because it's spinning around, round and round she goes. Where it stops, Brian Harsin, he's out. They got their teeth kicked in by the Arkansas Razorbacks. That one was never close. We could see this coming from a mile away, but finally happened. It happened on the same day that John Cohen announced, a former UK Mitch Barnhart guy who I believe coached baseball at UK as well.
That's right.
Went to Mississippi State, coached baseball there, became their AD. He announced his resignation. He's going to be taking over at Auburn. So first order of business, getting Harsin out. And our guy Hoke Luckett, he believes that one Mark Stoops might get a call from John Cohen.
Yeah, they had about 5 or 6 coaches on Auburn Live's hot board today. Expected names: Lane Kiffin, Hugh Freeze, Deion Sanders, and then Mark Stoops.
Hugh just got a raise.
Mitch in there. He did. I think they bumped him up to $5 million there at Liberty.
Which is crazy. They can pay that at Liberty.
And so, I think we talked about this on 11 Personnel last week, Nick. But just get ready. His name's going to come up for a lot of jobs. And so, like you said, get ready to ride this carousel. We'll see where it ends up.
I think it's worth noting when evaluating these potential vacancies. Stoops has made it clear that he's a big fan of having some alignment in the administration, right? Like having some support. Might disqualify Auburn, but if they got a big bucket of nil money, I think we've got to make sure that we've got our pulse on our finger on that pulse because it's only going to get harder to coach if you don't have that bucket of nil money waiting for you to help get you new players each and every year. So I think that's something that you have to take into consideration. And that's something that Mitch has to take into consideration instead of dragging his feet. He's got to make sure that Kentucky's nil efforts are up to snuff.
And Ross Dellinger reported today that part of the reason Cohen left Mississippi State, his alma mater, was because of NIL. Auburn's already got $19 million rates for some collective, and it's been an issue at Mississippi State. It was an issue at Ole Miss, Nick, when I was down there. Lane Kiffin had a NIL fundraising event on Friday before the game. And we all know Kentucky is maybe not ahead of schedule there either. So that's going to be something to watch out for sure.
I saw something that they polled, I don't know if it was just 5 stars or 4 and 5 stars, about their college choice in the modern day era. And 45% said best NIL deal was most important instead of fit for school. So it's coming. It's here. It's now. Yeah. And you're either going to accept it and thrive or not and just get passed over.
Yeah. Cormani McClain, who's the number 2 cornerback in the country, was a hard Florida lean. Everybody thought he was going to Florida. It sounded like he wanted to go to Florida. Miami had a better NIL deal. He committed to Miami. This is the ball we're playing now. And so you either need to go home or pick up your bat and compete. I mean, that's where we're at right now.
Scott makes a good point over on the KSR YouTube page that this is a big offseason in Lexington. A lot of things have to be done correctly or, it just you've had a lot of positive momentum and you can't let it be stalled. I know as college football fans, we are certainly prisoners of the moment. That's what makes it fun, right? Is overreacting every single week to whatever is going on in the world. Big picture wise, Kentucky is doing better than they have throughout most of my life on the football field, but it can all come crashing and go up in flames just like that. It doesn't take much. So
yeah. Look at Tennessee for an example. How good they're doing right now. Dumpster fire. Went away from going to Atlanta and playing in the college football playoff. Things can change fast, both for the good and the bad in this sport. And I think it's even more true now with the transfer portal era. You can flip rosters quickly. Your roster can go from really good to iffy in an off season. Things can just change very fast in this sport. So you got to can't take time to just bask in the glory or take a step back. You got to keep moving forward.
I think this December. I'm sorry, Drew.
Tennessee's quick bounce back is what sucks so bad because 2 years ago we're doing the McDonald's bag thing and we're thinking Tennessee's down for a while and Kentucky's on this climb. And we thought maybe one day we'd be the code number 2 and have the fancy lights and talk about playoffs in Atlanta. And somehow they caught right back up and passed Kentucky in the race. And seeing them have all that fun, it's kind of what we've been looking forward to eventually getting to. And now we're back to, we're in our stadium playing Dumas Walker on repeat for the 6th straight season, hoping we're beating Missouri again. Like, it feels like we're stuck in the mud, and we just watched Tennessee's program speed right by when Kentucky had a big head start the last couple of years.
Yeah, Drew, and I think December is going to be the craziest month in college football ever because of the combination of the portal, name, image, and likeness. I think you're going to see some crazy stuff go down in December, and the programs,
plus the carousel on top of that. Coaches
the programs that are ready for that are going to succeed. Those that aren't won't because, and listen, I'm right there with that kid that went to Miami. I mean, you offer me that much money, okay, let's do it. I mean, the number of players like me coming through the system that would have went to Kentucky no matter what, those days are over with, really. I mean, there may be a few out there, but it's not about college U anymore. It's about the money, and rightfully so. And I'm happy for that. But you got to be ready, or you're going to get passed by.
Signing day. That's less than 6 weeks away. I think 6 weeks from Wednesday.
Yeah,
It'll be here. It'll be here before you know it. God.
Let's keep the ones we have. I'm worried about that too.
Yes.
Not that I know or have heard anything. It's just in this world, no one's everywhere permanently.
Which makes this offensive coordinator situation they're in a very tricky, potentially tricky spot. Best case scenario, they just get things fixed, the offense starts humming, and then everybody just calms down a little bit, right? But if you don't, there's going to be some tough decisions to be made, and you're going to have to balance that act of any decision you make, like staffing-wise, has personnel consequences. Players can leave at any point, and then you've got to add people that are going to potentially bring in some people to you when you hire. So you just got to be careful with whatever decision you make.
Well, and then it goes to what kind of quarterback do you get in the transfer portal too? That a lot of it's going to hinge on.
Yeah, that's $1 million. That's $1 million question. Along with, can you keep your guys on the roster?
That's a good question by Tristan Smith there.
Mm-hmm.
Does Stoops go to Ole Miss when Lane Kiffin leaves for Auburn? No.
Stoops doesn't strike me as an Ole Miss guy. Like, imagine him in that country club crowd, right? Like,
no, I don't see him down at the library on Friday night.
That's a lateral move. No way getting around that. Like, Ole Miss has got some of the NIL issues that Kentucky has.
Mm-hmm.
It just would be that move would make zero sense on a surface level.
Whereas, like, some of those other, like, if the Big Ten West jobs open up, Big Ten West is a lot different than the SEC West. A lot different. Big Ten West football. It's about like the NFC South. Drew, did you see the end of the Panthers-Falcons game yesterday?
You know what? Yesterday was the least amount of NFL I've maybe watched in the last 10 years, and I'm embarrassed. I had the basketball stuff in pregame, and no, I didn't. I'm sad to say I'm behind.
You missed a real treat because Carolina was trying to win to become 3-5 and have a 4-way tie at 3-5 and be first in their division, right? And they caught a 62-yard touchdown with 12 seconds left to tie the game. Yeah, I mean, it was a pass in the air. It was a beautiful pass. And DJ Moore just throws his helmet off in celebration. 15-yard penalty, misses the extra point. They get a chance to win in overtime with a Marcus Mariota arm punt, like a 70-yard pass directly to the Carolina DB. Kicker misses a kick in overtime. They end up losing the game. It was a hilarious turn of events. But that is just – you want to talk – like the one thing that it is encouraging to see like bad football in the NFL as well. Like it's not just – we're not just seeing it here, folks. Like bad football is everywhere. So drink it up, enjoy it. Just maybe score some more points, Kentucky. Let's get back a little bit more refocused. Freddie, I'm giving you the headset. You're going to be Kentucky's offensive coordinator this week. We're not running the triple option, but you do get to do one thing to clean up this offense, if you will. Help score some more points. What's a man like you going to try to do to help get more points on the scoreboard?
I'm going to throw on first down a little bit more against Missouri because they're going to come downhill and try to stop the run and be unpredictable in run pass situations because right now, yeah, it's you can read it. I mean, it's coming what Kentucky does. So I would mix up the run pass a little bit more. The jumbo sets, the running the football, that's great if you got a lead in late in the game. But you got to get a lead in the late portions of the game to play that way. So, if it was me, I would let Will Levis be Will Levis, and I would try to find a way to get those receivers open again. With the receiver core, we started out the season. These guys were red hot, and we were all talking about how tremendous that is. Got to find a way to get those guys back involved, especially the young guys, Dane Key, Marion Brown. For many reasons, you need to get those two back involved with the offense. And then Tavion Robinson, you can't have that big drop, but just mixing it up more, be a little bit less predictable in early downs. And if I'm calling the plays, I have to have that third down number heavy on my mind because again, I got scarred by that 15% on third down against Tennessee. That's got to get cleaned up. And then and once you get to the red zone, can't turn the football over. I mean, you cannot do that. And scoring only 56% inside the 20, we got to punch it in down there. So I'm gonna vary it up a little bit. I'm actually gonna spread it out a little bit more with the receivers and throw the football around and see what can happen there. But yeah, just be less predictable and just try to do whatever you can to get to third down and start converting those. Instead of having that low percentage that Kentucky's had and put the football in the end zone.
2 of 13 on third down, 4 of 16 if you count their fourth downs as well. Not great. I do feel like there's also like keep it simple, stupid, right? Like, can we just make things? I mean, even just getting the plays in, right? Like, it feels like you're getting out of the huddle and you're just, all right, everybody, hurry up, go. Like, there's not time to digest what play you're trying to run, and that it's snowballing. Like nothing's coming easily for the Cats.
Before you go on to the panel, how many defensive offside penalties has Kentucky forced this year? Adam,
I can't remember any off the top of my
because when you're snapping the football with 5 seconds left on the play clock. The cadence doesn't matter. You can't hard count it. So these defenses are putting their ears back and coming downhill because the cadence is not a factor. Yeah. Offsides is not a factor. So you're right, Nick. I like that. Just get them in, get them out, and let's run some plays. Kentucky actually ran 2 more plays than Tennessee on Saturday night. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, things just need to be streamlined. Stoops kind of talked about dumbing it down and whatnot. That KISS strategy Nick's talking about, keep it simple, stupid. They've got to figure some stuff out. Maybe cut the playbook in half or something this week. Figure out what you want to do and what you want to focus on. I think the start of the game is huge. If they come out here and three and out it, or don't have any success on offense, I think not only could it maybe kill the offense's confidence, but it's probably going to kill the defense's confidence, knowing that, well, boys, we got to pitch a shutout today because they ain't got it again. So let's find a way, and then they start forcing the issue and trying to play hero ball a little bit. So I think the start of this game on Saturday is really, really big.
Can anyone give me some comfort in my worries about DeAndre Square? Huge DeAndre Square guy. We're 3 tackles from the 300 club. Not on the depth chart. Doubtful. Do I need to be real worried? Is this a long-term thing, or are we going to be okay here? The fan club is worried.
I'm a little worried.
It's my guy.
Also, we need to figure out how many tackles he has because
I've heard conflicting reports here.
Because College Football Reference has him at 300. UK has him at 297. But I don't know if they've updated since Saturday. So I don't know. Either way.
I was trying to dig up his consecutive starts. I think he started like 43 straight games.
Which was his number.
Yeah, well, he's had all the numbers.
One
of the many.
Right. But if it's an ankle sort of thing, Drew, one would hope like, okay, week or 2 off could do him some good. And we did talk about it in the preseason, right? Like you had 2 quality linebackers behind them that would be starters for most teams because that position takes a beating. You're going to need to call on him. Trevin Wallace, D-Jack, like you don't feel like there's a significant drop-off there. So at least that part's a positive. But it was just a disaster against Tennessee because you didn't have your main vocal leader there making sure everything's getting communicated to who it needs to be communicated.
Well, and they played that game without what might have been their 4 top communicators on defense entering the year when you talk about Jaquez Jones, DeAndre Square, Tyrell Asian goes out the series after DeAndre, and then Jalen Geiger has been out since the Florida game.
Mm-hmm.
You just talk about communicators on that back end, those 2 linebackers, those 2 safeties. That's tough when you don't have those 4 guys all together. And that was just kind of the situation. But even with that, the defense wasn't the problem on Saturday.
What about Rodriguez? Is he okay?
Banged up.
He was on the depth chart, and usually that means they're playing typically, and so I would assume he's going to play. But I don't know how banged up he is. I also wonder how much that was just he got nicked a little bit. They were losing so bad. You're going to need him to carry the ball a lot later. Just shelf him. So, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't have any insight on that or intel on that.
Will we see personnel changes in special teams this week?
Drew, can you snap a football?
I feel like I could give it the old college try.
I mean, it's not. I know it's harder than it looks like it because you've got to be perfect. But, come on. It's not. It's like throwing a pass beneath your legs. Like, it's not that difficult. I learned it by just messing around with my buddy, like playing outside in the street. Like, it's not that hard. How is it?
The kicks are still coming out too low on the extra point. I mean, I know the snapping, but they're coming out way too low. I mean, like they got to get some more height on these PAT attempts. It seems like the snapper issues, like the timing is just off. Like it's taking forever to snap, hold, and kick. I mean, it should be instantaneously. There shouldn't be, all right, catch the snap. It feels like it's like 3 different steps when really it should be one. They should be tied together. It should be one step, but it feels like 3 different things are going on there. And so, like, I know the snapping's been an issue, but, like, the kicks are coming out low. They've had issues getting holds down when they have good snaps. I mean, it's been a damn circus. I mean,
and then if Tennessee would have blocked that punt, you know who was going to block it, don't you?
It was Caleb Perry, yeah.
Yeah, from Great Crossing.
Yeah.
Were you all like me, and when that extra point was blocked, so you're still down a point instead of tying it up, you just want to turn the TV off right there? You just knew it was going to be that kind of night.
Yeah,
when you get that answer you wanted to make it 7-7, and then it's blocked. If I didn't have to, talk to you yahoos and write on the website, I might have just shut it down right there and gone and found something to do.
When that happened, I had a text going with Hernandez and all my guys, right? And I think I typed ball game. That's it. And it was that early. And that's just how deflating that is. That's how that sucks any kind of momentum you got away off the field, and it's just, at some point in time, the defense is, Mark Stoops does a great job of keeping his teams together, even if there's one side is better than the other one, and it's, but that defense is going. I mean, at some point in time, they're gonna start asking questions. What are y'all doing over there, right? Mm-hmm. Not just to the offense, but to the what's going on here? We cannot keep doing everything, and it's tough right now.
So we got some strong Iowa vibes here.
They'd just gotten was it a 3-and-out? If not a 3-and-out, it was a quick stop.
Yeah.
You got worried.
Penalties. Yeah.
You got worried you're about to go down 14-0 there. It's this emotional roller coaster of crap that might blow us out. But then the defense gets a stop, you get the ball back, you punch that touchdown in, and just kick me in the face. Like, so frustrating.
Have you had a conversation with your father, or is it?
I have not answered any phone calls. I did text him to make sure his tuxedo fits, and then when he said something about the Vols, it's like, we're not doing this. We're not talking about that. I need your tuxedo to fix. And Mom said she made chicken pot pie, and I'm coming to get it. And I'm going to walk in. I don't want to hear anything about the football game. That's kind of been our relationship the last few days.
I know this is also we don't need to talk about the other sport, but they even had like the basketball team take their trophy on the field and then like show it off to the UK fan. Cal, kick this team's ass. All right. We can't. This team does so much damage to us because, Freddie, here's the thing. I was ready to turn it off. We all knew this was ball game. We've watched Kentucky lose to Tennessee every year except for 2 my entire life, right? Or 3, excuse me. We know how this goes. We're scarred. Cal, get your shit together and go kick their ass. All right, I'm tired of losing that stupid team. They drive me nuts. I can't.
It wasn't just the basketball team. The baseball team did the same exact thing.
It was,
and that got a little testy, I hear, right, Adam?
It was very much we're an everything school where Kentucky's a basketball school. Like that whole back and forth, opening a can of worms. And Tennessee, yeah, they were throwing salt in the wound on that. And so, their baseball team is notorious for being kind of braggadocious.
That's a nice way to put it, Luckett.
Yeah,
I
mean, I'm not a. I would. A lot of people are not a big fan of their coach. That goes from fans to media to actual coaches in college baseball. But yeah, I mean, they're throwing it in the wound right now. I mean, like baseball is awesome for them right now. Basketball team has had a lot of success over Kentucky, and they've always had the football success. So it's a tough pill to swallow if you're a Kentucky fan because that's the team you want to beat. That's your rival, and they've gotten the better of you.
Well,
I would have done the same exact thing, though.
I would have
done the same exact thing.
Yeah, that's why it was so tough. I think it was so hard to swallow because by all accounts, Kentucky had a great 2 weeks of prep. They were excited to go down there. They thought they had a real shot. They had a good plan. And that's the result we got on the field. And then that was the most disappointing part, I think, of the whole thing. Was like you had this moment here, you had a chance, you had extra preparation, and that's what you put out on the field. It's just very, very frustrating.
Man,
the answer to Tristan's question, which loss is worse, Tennessee or South Carolina?
That's a great question.
For me, it's South Carolina. I mean, that's not Missouri just beat them up.
Yeah, South Carolina is stinks and shame.
South Carolina has gotten very fortunate in the last 2 years. This year, they get Kentucky without Will Levis. They get A&M before the quarterback change, and get 2 wins, get momentum, get ranked, and then Missouri said, "No, you are who you are."
They've taken advantage of opportunities. I mean, they've had a lot of things break their way, but last year they get Auburn and Florida at the end of the year when they start going south. Played them at the perfect time, win. Get a North Carolina team, a bad North Carolina team that was kind of checked out in the bowl game. Win that, give them a bump. Play Kentucky without Will Levis. Get 17 points when you have 5 total yards of offense against A&M, and then kind of hold on for dear life in that game. They've just taken advantage of opportunities, but they've played complimentary football. Special teams has been awesome. It's picked up the offense. They haven't made a lot of mistakes, and that's led to some wins in games they probably shouldn't have won. But you have to give them the credit. Like in football, you've got to take advantage of opportunities like that. Kentucky didn't take advantage of their opportunities. Very winnable game against Ole Miss. Should have won. You should have beat South Carolina at home either. So then if you go and lose at Tennessee, you're still kind of 7-1 or whatever. Now you're 5-3, and things look like they're falling apart. And so that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
But it's Tennessee, though. So
yeah, eventually, we're gonna look back, and they just didn't. Like, they should have beat Tennessee in a lot of these seasons, and they didn't.
Yeah, because that's the worst part is the record. Kentucky has been a better football program, for a 5-6 year stretch, and they got 2 wins out of it, right? And ultimately, really, what a lot of this comes down to, when you think big picture on Kentucky should be in SEC championship games, they should be New Year's Six. The best team that Kentucky had, and the biggest what if, is that stupid egg they laid in 2018 in Neyland Stadium, Because last year you felt like you were kind of, it was a little bit of fool's gold at time, right? Where you were winning a lot of toss-up games but that 2018 team was so much better than that Tennessee with Jarrett Garantano throwing Hail Marys before halftime. They had no business losing that game, laying that egg down there. You win that one, then you're in New Orleans, right? You're playing in the Sugar Bowl instead of playing in the Citrus Bowl.
But I think that 2018 result is I think it's a great microcosm of kind of what has held this program back at points. It's been the offense. They went down there and scored 7 points. You can't expect to win a game if you can't score more points. They go down here, they score 6. They play A&M. They should have won the game. The defense was awesome. They can't score the ball on offense. They get 1 touchdown, offensive touchdown. Ole Miss, they can't finish a drive. The offense can't finish a golden opportunity when the defense totally shut down a very good offense in the second half. That's been the one thing that's held them back, and they gotta fix that moving forward. You thought they had it fixed with Cohen. He leaves. Now this is what you have. For Kentucky to climb that ladder and keep going, they have to be more consistent, and they have to be more explosive, and they have to be able to score more points on offense. And that's just what it breaks down to. It's nothing either more. They've built the defense up to where it's consistently going to be good on that side of the ball. It's been established. Now they got to get to offense to that point, and you got to score points. It's the name of the game. Got to put points on the scoreboard. And that, when you look at these big letdown performances, it's a lot of times it's been because they can't score, and that's the thing that's got to change.
When I look at Luckett speaking, I see a man that's excited to drive by the boot store on his way to Columbia here in a few days.
Oh God, guys, I got to go to pick up Ellie from school.
See you, Freddie.
See y'all.
We'll see ya.
I'm excited about your costume tonight.
Heck yeah, babe.
What's your
sexy
costume?
coal miner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Send us some pictures.
What candy do you want to steal from Ellie's bag? What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Ooh. Well, all of it, one. And she just got braces, so I'm really going to dominate the candy this year because she can't. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So for me, anything chocolate, man. I mean, and I like Reese's chocolate, peanut butter, any mixture of that is good. Oh, man. I like Nerds. Nerds are really, really strong too.
I like that you're just listening to them all. But go get Ellie. Go pick her up.
Yeah. Little school pickup line here is very competitive in Woodford County. I got to get my spot.
We'll see you, Freddie.
See ya.
I'm in the other situation, Drew, where I have a kid who can only eat chocolate stuff, and I love chocolate, but he can't eat all the chewy stuff. And now I'm stuck eating all the sugary, and I'm just not it's fine. I love a good Laffy Taffy. I love trying to guess the jokes on the Laffy Taffies. But it's not the same as a Three Musketeers or Kit Kat. Kit Kat is number 1 overall draft pick for me.
I'm halfway through a Costco-sized bag I'm supposed to give out tonight. I've really put a big dent in it. I got to break the news to Abby when she gets home that we might be going to buy more. And I've pretty much left it down to just Airheads. I didn't even know those still existed, but any kid that comes by my house, that's what I've left you from the gigantic bag I've been eating for 3 days. My big predicament is I don't know how much to buy. I'm kind of new to this neighborhood, and we had kind of the COVID bounce back. I feel like I'm unprepared with my little bag of Airheads. I don't want to be attacked by all these kids and run out, 20 minutes into this process. What kind of number do you all shoot for? Is there a number of kids I'm supposed to expect?
Well, we usually leave on Halloween.
Smart.
To go somewhere else. So I leave a bowl out. But we don't get many kids in this neighborhood, so
yeah.
So I wasn't afraid to eat a bunch of Snickers this week, Drew, because I know that bowl's probably not going to get touched very much. So I'll leave a bowl out, and then I'll take care of it when we get home tonight. But that's usually how we
your
run.
neighborhood, Drew, is going to be just like they're going to be shipping kids in by the busload, and it's just going to be overwhelmed with children.
I'm a little worried. There's two guys that live down the street, and they're setting up this big garage where you come by and get Jello shots and bourbon shots. So I might do a little adult trick-or-treating down the road. I've been working on it all day. I'm excited.
Oh, man,
I'm not going to reveal my neighborhood so that we don't overcrowd them, but it looks like it's going to be a fun party.
Yeah, we're going over a friend's house, and kids are trick-or-treating, but I'm sure there'll be a few beers had.
Oh, yeah. Those metal cups, right? Like I've learned to, and as now I'm in my 30s, that's our uniform as 30-year-olds, right? You got to have the metal cup at like all the random spots, and you're like, oh, he's just really hydrated, that Roush guy. It's like, staying very hydrated.
You can take those in high school football games out here too.
Oh, really? I wonder. That's good to
know.
Coffee.
Three of us were big coffee during football guys.
Yeah. Which, by the way, playoffs are here. A huge upset before the playoffs started. Male knocked off Manual, who is looking like one of the better teams in 6A. So
smoked them too.
Yeah, that race looks kind of wide open if your St. X Tigers don't defend it. Douglas, Drew, is it finally going to be the year for Frederick Douglass?
I feel like we say that every year, and they come up short over at Kroger Field. It looks like it is. They destroyed Boyle. I don't know if anyone saw that coming.
Yeah,
and Boyle's very good. I'm going to say they will, but it's been disappointing results the last several years.
No pressure.
No pressure. And then next year, they're losing a lot. I think losing all their starting receivers to graduation, and then young Josiah Lemon steps in to be one of the featured pass catchers next year for the Broncos. Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh, gosh. We're bringing back that over with, again. Which, by the way, the under still hit in that game yesterday. So 7-1 unders for the Broncos and the Cats this year. So if you're looking for a side to play, Broncos country, let's ride. Why'd they have to beat the Jags, though? Like, I've become kind of a second Jags fan. So that's disappointing. Maybe football podcast road trip to Nashville.
Bengals go there in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Freddie is already going to the Jaguars. I told him we might have to get everybody together. I think he already has his tickets.
You canceled your Atlanta road trip plans. It's that weekend, so
I think we should.
Might have to do it. Well, it's been fun. I'm very happy to. Hopefully, this can kind of put. The less I get to talk about that Tennessee game, the better. Like, that sucked so much. We just want to move on as much as you do. Hopefully, we can get past it, get back on track against Missouri. Kentucky kicks off. It's a nooner, 11 a.m. local time. Luckett will be in Como. Make sure you're playing along all weekend long with Prize Picks, promo code KSR to double your deposit. And a big thanks to our friends at Justice Dental for always bringing you the KSR Football Podcast. A little bit of a programming note. Kentucky plays basketball at our typical recording time next Monday, playing the Howard Bison, I think. Bison, yeah. So we're going to go an afternoon then as well, but we'll get back on our schedule to end the year on Monday evenings going live. So appreciate y'all tuning in on Halloween Day, and keep it locked on the KSR YouTube channel for all your creative content all season long. For Adam Luckett, Drew Franklin, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.